Hey everybody, it's ASIC Eric. It's Saturday. Come out here and do a little bit of work before tomorrow when Pops is out here. So as you can see, we got the hood sprayed, and that was a colossal nightmare in just about every way. Last weekend when I was painting this thing, it was 95 degrees outside, and I was in here with my paint suit on, got like the first coat of base, this is sealer base, and I got so overheated I almost passed out. I was like almost gonna throw up. I was such a mess. So I had to go in the house and recover for a while, and I came back out and finished it up. The base coat went on pretty much okay, but as expected, all these areas in here were blowing crap out. I spent a good solid 15 minutes blowing this thing out and vacuuming it and everything. It didn't matter. When I painted it, all this stuff was flying out everywhere. So there were a few spots that were really bad, and I took sandpaper and tried to clean up the base coat while I was at it, and it kind of worked okay, kind of not. And then right when I was about done with the base coat, big drop of water landed in it. Bloop. Left a big crater right there because it's waterborne base coat, so ate right through the stuff. What I was finding was I had my little air dryer that I was using to dry this thing, and there was water coming out the connector on the air dryer. And it was very interesting because I came over here and I checked all my lines and everything. All this stuff was fine. There was no water anywhere in here. But right at the point where the air is being compressed there in that spot, right, and coming out the thing as it goes through the compression and expansion right there, it's cooling, I guess, and so the water's condensing out. So I've got to be really careful with that thing. The gun itself didn't seem to have this problem, but the little air dryer did. So I was holding the thing over like this, and it just went bloop right off the air dryer. So I got to keep the air dryer off the edge of the panel. Even at 95 degrees, this waterborne still wouldn't dry by itself. It sat for like 15 minutes. It still wasn't dry. So just don't have enough air through here or whatever. So whatever. So that was okay. I got through that. The mid coat went on okay. Except again, more crap was blowing out. So there's just chunks. So if you look around here, you can see. So just stuff like this. And this is actual trash, like right here, there was this huge piece of junk, right? This big black thing. And I took my little tungsten block here and tried to scrape it, and it just ripped it all the way down to the geez, I don't even know what, 2K or something. So I'm gonna have to patch that and fill that in. But so I'm not gonna use that block for that kind of stuff. That didn't work. In any event, so for the most part, it's okay. See, there's a little bit of texture in it, but it's not too bad. And in general, it sprayed out fine. But like I said, there's just this crap that was flying around that I just can't get rid of on here. And I knew that was going to be the case, like I said, because there's all these little nooks and crannies everywhere. You can look down here, you can see all that crap. You just can't get it out. At least I can't get it out. I couldn't find any way to get it out. So the other thing that went wrong was just my day. When I came back down to do the mid coat, put a quart of clear coat up here and knocked it over. Whole quart on the floor, gone. I was so mad. It wasn't, I hadn't mixed it all up or everything yet, so it wasn't quite a quart, whatever the 3 to 1 to 1, whatever it is. So of course then it means it didn't want to dry either. So anyway, that was a joke. Yeah. And so last other thing on this was I'm still finding I'm using a lot more base coat than I expect. I used basically a quart of base coat on this, and it was a quart of mid coat too, which is the clear coat, of course. But that's going on pretty heavy. And the base coat, I only put two coats of base and then 2 control coats, which are really light. And it was still a quart. So I'm burning through that stuff like crazy. I have basically about a gallon left of base, and I just don't think that's going to be enough. So I'm going to measure this at some point and try and calculate this, and I think it's going to come out pretty close to a gallon. So I'm going to end up I was going to buy like an extra quart, but I may end up just getting another gallon because I don't want to run out in the middle of the job and then be screwed. All right, anyway, that's that. So what I'm doing today, look at here, look how nice that was. So here's the part about the clear coat. So it can spray out nice. I know Sean and I have been going back and forth in emails. This stuff can spray out beautifully. So I don't think I have, a contamination problem or anything. It does spray out fine when I get a nice clean surface and everything. It's just crap. This is all dust here, so don't worry about that. Anyway, so I think this is fine. I don't think I have any contamination problems or anything. So I started some 1500, knocking this down just to get it smooth, and you see it sands out pretty well. So I'm going to do the old cut and buff on this guy again. At the last, I only put one coat of clear on this as I've done before. So 3 coats of mid coat, which is clear again, and then 1 coat of clear. And I put that last coat on pretty heavy because I wasn't so worried about running anything on here, so I could do a good cut and buff on this. I'm not going to bother flow coating this because it's the underside of the hood. You're not going to see it as much. And as Pops and I discussed, we're going to have the heat shield on this most of the time anyway, so just to protect the paint and everything. So, all right, lots of rambling. All right, back to where I was. So we're going to try and get this texture out of here, but not so much. I don't care that much about it, but more importantly, I just want to get all this dust stuff out of here. And there was a bunch of it right here, which is why I started right here, and it all sanded out. So you see here, this is still not a perfect texture, so I'm not sure how aggressive I'm going to go after in terms of making it perfectly smooth. The most important thing is to get the get as much trash out of it as I can. So I'm going to go do that. So I'm going to just go over this thing with 1500 basically, and then we'll see where we are at the end of that. All right, just to give you an idea here. So this is the 1500. This stuff I found on Amazon. I don't know, no name stuff. 1500 on here on the block. You see it's pretty smooth. Give you an idea what I was talking about with the trash. If you look here, sorry. Oops. Focus. You see that's trash. All the other stuff pretty much sanded out, so there's just crap like that. Zoom out, people. So a lot of that stuff's just, I can flatten it, but I can't get rid of it. So anyway, that's that. And then here I had the 1500 3-inch Trizact on the buffer, and it doesn't really cut as well. So I might try the 1000 on the buffer, but I'm gonna try turning up the speed first and see. This is faster, but it's hard to get into all these little places, so the 3-inch buffer would be better if I can use it. So yeah, the 1500 on that buffer is just not quite enough. So put the 1000 on there. Interestingly, the 1500s are very thin. You can see that. Whereas the 1000's actually got a pad on it. Kind of interesting. Didn't expect that. Anyway, that works pretty well. So I'm going to take the sanding block and try and get up into these little corners a little bit. I don't know if you can see, there's still some stuff there. I don't want to go too crazy there because I have to be able to buff it later. So I can't really go past these edges. So just kind of up to those edges. But if there's something right on the edge I can clean up, I'm going to try. But that's working pretty well. So that should make pretty short work of things. All right, we'll show you where we are here. So this is all in 1500, everything that you see sanded. I didn't sand everything. Basically, if it had too much texture in it or a lot of trash, I sanded it down. You know, stuff like this I just left, pretty minor. Interesting thing, on the front of the hood here, most of the trash was in the base coat. So I ended up with a bunch of stuff like this. So that's white. So that went all the way through. So I have a bunch of little specks like that that burn through all the way to the base. That I'm going to try and see if I can touch those up. I'm going to put a little dab of touch-up paint or something on there and see if I can fix those. I should have prefaced all of this by saying I'm 90% sure I'm going to have to repaint this hood, but I'm not going to bother with it right now because clearly the technique I have doesn't work. So I could go after it again and just end up with more trash in it again, so I'm not going to bother. It's the underside of the hood. I think I can clean it up well enough where it'll be presentable. and it's probably going to have the heat shield on it a lot of the time anyway, if I didn't already say that. I think I already did. Maybe I said this already. I don't know. Whatever. So this is 1500, so I'm going to go ahead and get out the 3000 Trizact here on the little buffer and also on the DA and see how well this cleans up. Alright, so that's 3000. Hopefully you can see that it's a little bit shiny. I think you can see there. So it's definitely shinier than it was with the 1500. It's pretty smooth. Pretty happy with it. So I'm going to blow it off and then get out the rubbing compound and hit it at our first step of rubbing compound, see how it goes. Yeah, so I got to get the big buffer out. I got to be really careful in here, obviously, because there's a lot of places you can burn through. And I also have polishing pads and stuff for that little buffer. It doesn't work as well when I did the firewall. That didn't seem to work as well, but we're going to give it a go again and see how things go here. Okay, that was a quick attack there with the little buffer there with the Perfect-It number 1. Worked pretty well here, so this is without, this is with. Less well down inside here. I got some more work to do. Basically, if I remember correctly, when you're done with step 1, it should basically look good. Right? If you've got it, if it still looks hazy after step 1, you're in trouble. Step 2 isn't going to remove haze. Step 2 is only going to remove scratches, really fine scratches. So this has got to look pretty good when I'm done here. All right, well, we'll show you how far we got here. So I'm still working on the number 1, the rubbing compound. So most things look okay now. They're pretty shiny. It's pretty hard to get into some of these areas that I probably shouldn't have sanded, but they had a lot of dirt in them, so I did anyway. So you can see, like, on these edges here, it's a little hazy there still. This guy is pretty worthless in my mind. Really doesn't work that well at all. Maybe I need a bigger one, higher speed or something, but it's really slow. I had this old kit from a long time ago, a bunch of different stuff in it that's actually working better. So I put the foam pad on there. I also have a little wool pad for it I've tried, and that cleaned this stuff up a lot better. Anyway, so take a look. You can see it's looking pretty nice. I didn't get all of the defects out, as you can see. But it looks pretty good. It really does, I must say. The spots where I had those base coat breakthroughs, they're pretty hard to see, and it's actually kind of nice. They just look kind of like dust. They're pretty hard to see. They're there. They're pretty hard to see. Oh, and for anyone who wonders what it looks like when you cut through with a buffer, that's what it looks like. I was using that big guy trying to get into some of these areas I probably shouldn't have been, and there's a couple of spots that I chewed it up. I'm not so concerned about it, as I say, because I got to come up and touch up some of these things anyway, so I'll just go over those edges while I'm at it. A lot of this, what I'm doing on this hood, I'm being really aggressive, like way more aggressive than I probably would ever be on the outside of the car. And part of that is trying to find out how far I can push it. You know, where does, how far is too far? So I found that this thing, no matter how hard I press it, I'm not in any danger of busting through. Even with something like this, I don't think I am. On the drill, I was able to take that thing and stick it up inside these corners here and dig through there, and I don't think it caused any damage. I think that was from something else. I did the same thing on this one. I don't see any cut throughs on this one, so yeah, it's pretty hard to polish up in these areas here. So anyway, I think this probably would have been easier with some 5000. I forget who recommended that last time to get some 5000, but I think next time I'm going to get some 5000 because this is just still a little too hazy. It takes quite a bit of buffing to get it cleaned up. With the big polisher, it's no big deal, but with the little one, it takes a lot of work to clean that stuff up. You can see the divot there. It's actually not as bad. It leveled out a little bit. I sanded it down. I could have been more aggressive sanding this and trying to level it even more. but it only has one coat of clear on it, so I didn't want to go too far. So I'm working on that side more than this side, but it looks pretty good. So I'm going to call it a day here. Pops is going to be over tomorrow. Hopefully we'll be putting the doors back on, doing some other stuff. I'll probably keep working on this tomorrow. We'll see. I want to get my stand back so we can get the fenders ready and other stuff. So anywho, that's going to do it. Again, remember, I'm not so worried if I destroy this because I know someday I'm probably going to repaint it. So don't get too crazy about if you didn't like what you saw here. Like I said, I'm being more aggressive than I would be on the outside of the car. So it's a learning process. All right, everybody, take it easy. Catch you on the next one.